Russian President Vladimir Putin today ordered his country's forces to begin withdrawing from Syria. Putin says the country's two-year campaign to destroy the Islamic State has been completed. The Pentagon, by the way, remains very skeptical and issued this statement. Russian comments about removal of their forces do not often correspond with actual troop reductions and do not affect U.S. priorities in Syria. Joining us tonight, Fox News Middle East and terrorist analyst, Dr. Walid Phares. Walid, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
It looks like everybody won in Syria, except for those who were killed and maimed and 5 million refugees. My God, what is going on?
Well, after all these years of warfare, and as you just mentioned, tens of thousands, in this case in Syria, 500,000 Syrians were killed. Now, the United States was part of the defeat of ISIS in most of eastern Syria. And as the Pentagon has mentioned, the Russians do not really withdraw. What they're saying is that for themselves to be able to redeploy. So now the question is, who's winning on the ground? Who won on the ground in Syria? My answer, Lou, it's Iran. It's allies. It's Hezbollah. It's the Assad regime. They took most of the land. We still have a chance. We still have our allies on the ground. Now we need to see what's the final outcome soon.
We have to see. Yet Syria, an important part of the caliphate that has been blown to bits here by U.S. forces and the Russians as well over the course of the last 2 years. But where are we headed now? All of the discussion about Syrian refugees, all of the discussions about the people that have been dislocated by this war. Why isn't the UN, why isn't the United States, why isn't Russia doing something?
Well, first of all, the 5 members, permanent members of the Security Council they can issue, by not using a veto, of course, a resolution that would call on all Syrian refugees, those who are in Europe, here, Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, to go back to secured areas. And I'm very puzzled that this is not happening, because if we have most of the Syrian refugees going back home, then you can begin with a political solution, not before that.
Well, a political solution in this case is backed by some pretty fierce military power on the part of the United States. Let's go to this terrorist attack that was botched by a 27-year-old Bangladeshi national who entered this country through chain migration. The President of the United States has been demanding an end to the absurd U.S. immigration policy, substituting a meritocracy, a merit-based immigration system for what is a lotto, a chain migration system. Look at this chart, if you all will. 9.3 million green cards issued. New immigrants on the basis of family ties have entered the country in the past 11 years. Now that's extraordinary. Chain migration, there isn't even then a judgment. There's precious little vetting. There is, and the people that are being brought in who are using chain migration are largely unskilled, uneducated. How did we ever let this move to this level, to these depths?
What a subject, Lou. I myself, I know a couple things about it. I am an immigrant. I was an immigrant 27 years ago. And I can tell you one thing. The chain migration system is unfair to other immigrants, to other migrants, who basically could help this nation more. But what is important about this issue is that the terrorists or the jihadists now are using chain migration to bring more jihadists. So on the one hand, there should be a very serious discussion in Congress and in public opinion about should we use or not chain migration. That's one subject. But the other subject is, as you just said, vetting. Until now, we don't have a good system of vetting. The reason, in my view, is historic, because 8 or 9 years ago, any reference to an ideology that would help us vet has been abolished. So we need to reinvent the whole wheel about this counter-radicalism strategy.
I think we can say it straightforwardly. President Barack Obama unleashed the migration of these folks into this country, did so purposely. You look at the numbers. For example, Bangladeshi nationals. Think about this. More than 140,000 141,500 Bangladeshi nationals have entered the United States for no other reason than through the chain migration because of their family members. Do you know how many, just out of curiosity, Wally, do you know how many Bangladeshi nationals are in the United States right now, according to the Census Bureau?
I do not.
180,000. That means more than 4 times, almost 4 times, I should say, the number of people here they're here because of family ties than the people that we brought in under the normal immigration system. It's stunning. And we can't even get agreement on being rational and going to a merit-based system. It's deeply, deeply concerning, if not downright frightening. Walid, your thoughts, you get the last word.
Well, basically, I agree with you. Migration reform has to be done, but has to be done very quickly because it's not just an issue of immigration, which should be fair and natural and normal, but because of the jihadi threat that makes it even more pressing to review these issues.
Dr. Walid Phares, always good to see you, Walid. Thanks so much for being here.